Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Journey Coach. This is Tammy Mosier, and I'm a professor, a coach, and a consultant. And we're going to look at setting up a hub for your degree program today in Notion. So, really considering how you can put together management of your degree, your notes, your classes, your research, everything into one hub into Notion. So we've already started together on this journey in setting up and preparing some of the fundamental and base databases. But I'm going to show you an example of a hub first, and then we'll go in and start to build one out using those examples of what we've done. So I'm going to use this SWOSU hub. So this is for my work at a professor at this university. And I've embedded different databases in here and different views of that so that I've really got it kind of separated out. So if you'll see here at the top, I've got SWOSU Hub, I have our icon, and then I have a cover on this. The first embedded database is actually a toggle for meetings, and this is tied to my appointment calendar. So if I open this up, here's the database, appointments, and as we've discussed in past, this particular database has time-based meetings. So I don't use an iCal or a Google Calendar anymore. I'm just using this so everything is in one place. And so this is actually filtered by the SWOSU area. So areas as a database, SWOSU is an area, and so I'm only looking at appointments here that are directly related to this particular area. So that's what's populating on the hub. Now, would I use this if I was trying to decide when to schedule another meeting? No. I would use my weekly planner because that has all my appointments in it. I also have this sorted, and it's by time and ascending, so that it puts the 10 to 11 a.m. appointment on top of the 2 to 3 p.m. Okay, so I'm going to fold that back up. The next section I have is administration. So these are my administrative duties. They're also what's considered service at my university. So I have this set up as filtered by the area, SWOSU, and then by master tag, which is also a database of service. So that puts in my department chair project, my ACPE, which is an accreditation steering committee project, and the degree specialization and center of excellence I run as a project. And one of the things I have on the properties list is I have it showing the actions that are related. The main reason I did that was because this tells me that there are action items associated with this project, and so I can just see they're there. It by no means gives me all of the list. If I open this up, here's all the monthly areas it's associated with. Progress is tied to actions. Here's the actions. And then I've got a hub for this project. All right, so my next area, and this is set up as administration, my next is courses I'm teaching or developing. This is also tied to the same projects database, but it's filtered by area, by master tag of teaching, and master tag of course development. So that pulls all of these up. And right beneath that, I actually embedded my grading database. And so we don't have classes occurring right now, but this would be filtered by my program, SWOSU, and then not done. So if it's not done and it's associated with the SWOSU program, then it populates here, and I have it sorted or grouped by time it takes to actually grade that assignment. So this is another way in which I can just go, I want to deal with just SWOSU, I want to deal with the courses I'm teaching. And that allows me to go in here. And as you can see, I have the same thing turned on here, where in the properties, it will show me if I have action items. So there's no action items tied to this class right now or this one. Then I have the research projects. Same database, and it is filtered by a master tag of research. So I have not done this by area, but I could add a filter and go and area and SWOSU, and these three stay there. And then these two have action items associated. Then I've got what personal development. This is actually a project, an area by SWOSU, and master tag of personal development. This is a course I'm taking for a national certification test related to my work at Southwestern. And then at the very bottom, I have my action items for anything related to SWOSU. So if I hit filter, it's area contains SWOSU and it's not done. It's not checked off as done. And then that, I decided a calendar view. You can of course set these views in different ways, but I liked this view for this hub. And so I can click this arrow over here on the right and look at June, look at July, and all of these action items just associated with my SWOSU hub populate. So this gives you an overview of kind of how I've set up a hub related to one area of my life. So let's go over and go back over to what we were working on last time together, which was setting up some basic overall databases. So areas, personal, business, family, education, and I'm going to add an area here, and I'm going to say doctorate. Now this could be your master's program, it could be an undergraduate program, or it could be a doctorate program. So I'm just going to put doctorate degree, and that's an area. And then in projects, I've got DBH 100, let's do DBH 801, DBH 802, DBH 803. You get the idea. The thing about these are their courses, right? So you already should have a plan of study for your degree and know what classes you want to take and that you need to check off and what timeline those are probably going to be scheduled at, especially if you're in a doctorate program of some kind. Or you may have to hold on to your plan of study and track and work with that information. So we'll look at how we'll deal with that in a minute. So I've got some assignments on here. So complete assignment 3, assignment 4, discussion, original post 1. So we've got some of those filled in. And then calendar. Now this becomes really interesting because if you're in an online program, you may or may not have any live synchronous events. But most programs and classes have a few built in. So this would look at something like DBH 800 intro event, DBH 800 sync event 1. And so I might go, this date is actually, let's put it in the future and say it's going to be then, and it's at 8 p.m. Central Standard to 9 p.m. And then this one is going to be June 3rd, and it's 7 to 8. You get the drift, right? We can go on down. And I'm like, I know what the meeting URL is. We've got a Zoom meeting set up, so I can put that URL in here for the Zoom meeting so it will populate. And so I can go through and kind of set that up and fill in the rest. Now, one thing I've discovered, the week. I've been very adamant about using the week in order to sort, but you don't necessarily have to do that. And because of the way I set up my weekly planner, I no longer have to do that. So here's how you would change that. I date everything. I have dates obviously on the live meetings, but even my action items, I put dates on. You may be using a productivity system that doesn't put dates on anything. That means you really do need that week as a guider. But I use dates. So you can choose date is before the exact date. So this weekly planner is for May 17th. So before May 17th, or I may click that and go before May 18th because I want anything that pops up. And then date is after May 10th. That would give me the May 11th through May 17 week. And that gives me my items here. So you can leave the week number if you need it, if you don't want to use dates, but if you're using exact dates, then you don't really need the week number. So that's a decision for you to make. So here I would go, I don't need that because I'm using dates, and that streamlines my top. All right, so now I want to set up a page. Your hub is a page, not a database. So right here I've got this plus sign on my left under workspaces. I'm going to hit that. I'm going to go up to my 3 dots on the right, and I like smaller text and a full width page. So I'm going to set those both up. That's preference, so whatever you would prefer. And then I'm going to go, I want a doctorate degree hub. You can call it a dashboard. You don't have to call it a hub. So dashboard or hub, both of those make sense to me. I'm going to add an icon. I put my university's, overall icon that we use. You could do that, or you could do something different. And then I want to add a cover. And so I'm going to go into change cover. I'm going to go to unsplash, and I'm going to type in university. And then I get all these pictures. All right. So I'm going to use this one for my degree. And so you can really, and so for this here, I could go degree, and I'm going to use a little hat. If you want to upload your image like I did for SWOSU, you just hit upload image and you can choose it and pull it in. All right, so I want an empty page. That's how I'm starting. And now you have to decide, what do you want on this page? So if we start with how I built out the SWOSU hub, I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to do a /, and that brings up this basic block list. And I'm going to go in here and go, I want to create a linked database to my calendar because I want those meetings. Now, here's what pops up. But I want to add a view, right? And I want a calendar view. And this is going to be called my live events. I'm going to put it that way so it makes it clear. And that turns it over into a calendar. And then I can go up here and go, I don't want all live events. I want to filter, because this is my hub. I'm going to add a filter. I'm going to do it by area. But if you'll notice here, I don't have an area on this calendar. So I'm going to go back here to my calendar real quick and go down here. I'm going to add a field, and it's going to be area. And it's going to be linked. It's going to be a relationship to my area database. Create relation. Okay, so now if I go back over to my hub, and I'm right here, and I want to filter this by area. Now it's listed. And I have the doctorate degree area already in here, so I can set that up. And then you may go, well, I want it to toggle because I don't always want to have to go down past this. So my / again, and I want a toggle list, and I'm going to type in live events. And then I'm going to highlight that because I want to bold it. I could also make it a color. And then I'm going to go here to my 6 dots, click on it, drag it into live events, and now there's my calendar. And so this is going to have my appointments. Now, the interesting thing is when I look at this, my appointments are not showing up here, and we have some. So I'm going to go back over to calendar. Well, look what happened. We added the area field, but we didn't actually add the area onto these. So I'm going to go here and go doctorate degree. Doctorate degree. Now if I go back up to my hub, there they are. Now, I also want to look at the properties here because I want the time for this meeting to populate. So all I needed to do was click time, and I've got that populated. And then I want to add a sort, and I want to sort by time, ascending. And that way, if I have a stack of appointments in a certain day, they'll line up on top of each other based on the time. And now if I go here, there's my other live event. Now this becomes really useful if, let's say, I've got 3 classes. I'm taking 3 classes at one time. I'm taking 4 classes at one time. Maybe I'm only taking 1 class, but we have live events for the class, and they're at different days and times depending on the instructor. And then I have to coordinate with some of my fellow students to work on a project together, and we're going to have some live discussions. So I need that on here. And if you're using this calendar for everything, your calendar database for everything, like I do, so let me show you mine again. So if we go to my appointment calendar, here's everything, right? So this has all of them on there. And this is the summer, so I have a lighter meeting load than I would in a normal period of time. But you can start to see how this really kind of populates out. I can see what's going on, and I have everything on here, so I can just operate off of this, right? And you can have the same thing set up. Then in the SWOSU hub, I just see the ones related to SWOSU. And so this starts to give you that fuller featured view of what you have going on versus if you don't use this for much in terms of Notion. So now I've got that. Now I know I want to set up some areas on this to view. So I want a classes view. So I'm going to put my courses. I'm going to go here to my 6 dots and I want to turn that into a heading. So I'm going to turn that into a heading and I want that to be a color. So I'm going to do orange. And then I'm going to set up a link to my projects database. So if you go up here to projects, you can see it on the left hand side and you see those 3 little dots. Click those 3 little dots and you want to copy the link. This is one of the easiest ways to do this. Copy link. I'm going to go here and I'm going to hit my /. Well, actually, I'm going to hit paste. And there's that link. And you'll see it automatically populates a dismiss or create linked database. I want to create the linked databases. So here's my projects. Now, let's see if this will do this for me today. No. So I'm also going to, I'm just going to type in courses. I'm going to take this, again, over my 6 dots. I'm going to drag this, and I'm going to go down here, and you'll see where it turns blue, and instead of horizontal, it's a vertical line. When I do that and let it go, it creates that kind of blocked area like this where they're side by side. Then what I'm going to do is drag this here, and I'm going to get rid of this. Now I've got this set up where we have a similar view to what I set up in my hub, where I've got kind of the area to the left, and then I've got my overall view to the right. Now, I want to set this up, and I'm going to say I want a gallery view. And I need to look at this. So if you'll notice, we're missing something here. We're missing, again, area. So I'm going to add, I can edit right here. I'm going to go area. It's a relation, right? And so then I'm going to go here, down to my areas. I'm going to create that relationship. And then this is my doctorate degree. This is doctorate degree. And I'm going to move this down here just to make it easier while we're on this. This is the doctorate degree. Doctorate degree. This I'm going to say is my business. This is family. This is family in terms of areas. Now I'm going to move this back down here to get it out of the way. But now I know I want a view. I want a gallery view. And I'm going to name this my classes. Create. Turns it into a gallery. So a few things we're going to practice with here. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to my properties. I'm going to make these page cover small, right? Then I'm going to go here, and I don't need the area because that's what I'm going to filter by here in a minute. And right now there's none of this that I need. So now I'm going to go by filter, and you'll notice now, right now, we have all of these grading, plan a garden, all of that's there. But I'm going to filter by area and doctorate degree. Now all I have is those classes. I also want to sort, because you'll know they're not in order right now. So I want to sort by the name and ascending, and all of a sudden it switched. So 800's before 801. Now I could also do this in descending order, meaning that the higher the class number, that is also going to mean that's the one you're currently in. If, for instance, I've got dates on these projects, in these classes in terms of when they run, so I add a date property, and I'm going to make that a date. So I'm going to put on here the dates that this class actually runs. And let's say that this one's going to start June 1st, and I'm going to have an end date on it because this is an 8-week class. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put it as a 4-week class. And so my final project is due June 28th. So I put that on here, and I do that for every one. Then what I would probably do is sort by date, descending, so that the ones that have the most current dates are at the front. So I could actually sort by name descending, and I could sort by date descending. So I could do both. I could just do one, but that would give me a way to keep my newest classes, the ones I'm currently in, at the very front of this. Then DBA 800, I'm going to add a cover to it. 803, we'll just let whatever cover populates, because it'll populate on its own. You can choose them. You can go search for them. You can make them, as you can see, solid colors. I want to change that. I don't really like that it's a solid color when everything else is a picture. So I'm just going to go here, choose one. Now I like this because I like having that picture view. I find that aesthetically pleasing, and it makes it much easier for me to kind of look at and engage with. So there's my courses. Now the other one I would say that you definitely need, especially if you're in a doctorate program or a master's, that's an academic master's that requires a thesis, you're going to want to go through and set up a research area, right? So same thing, I'm just going to drag this over until that turns vertical. Then I'm going to move this until I get that line, and then that allows me to do this, so they're kind of lined up in the same way. Then I'm going to link to my database. So I'm going to go up here, and this is also going to be projects, right? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to go right here because that puts me in the right spot. Copy that down, create a linked database. I'm going to delete that so that it lines up. And then same thing here. I'm going to look at it in terms of a gallery view. Now the interesting thing is here, it really depends on how you want to set this up. I would say instead of research, this would probably be thesis or dissertation. So let's just say this is dissertation research. So the way that I populate and put this together may be a little bit different. I am not really going to have, there's one project for this, it's the dissertation. So I may right here set this up different in that instead of setting it up for the project, I may pull in a little hub where I've got action items related to dissertation, that type of thing. So I would not necessarily sort this. I think I would go back over to my area and add a new area, and this would be dissertation. Because I can connect multiple areas to one thing. So for instance, if I find some data I'm using in the 801 class, I could tag it and add an area that's not only the area related to my doctorate degree, but it's related to my dissertation research. And then that would filter in this area as well. So I can really get more concrete on my data. So I've decided I don't want this here, right? So I'm going to go to the 6 dots, click on that, and go delete. I don't want that. I need to create my division here again. Pull this over. And so I'm actually now, what I want is my action items. I'm going to copy the link, create a linked database. And for action items, I can look at this as a calendar. I can look at this as a list. I've got variable views. But what I'm going to do is filter it by area, but it's going to be filtered by dissertation. So only the action items that have to do with the dissertation are going to go right here. I hope this starts to kind of help you see how you can begin to build out your hub for your doctorate degree and what that would need to look like. When we come back next time, what we're going to do next is look at a class, and we're going to set up a template for a class and then set up that class page so that it acts as a hub for the class. So join me next time as we start to build out these classes to help you organize your education and your learning so that it really becomes something that is searchable, is usable, where you feel organized and on top of everything you need to be on top of to live your life, be successful at that, and be successful in your family life, but at the same time really make progress on your goals toward your education. Thank you for joining the Journey Coach. Please subscribe if you want to get an alert for the next video surrounding this. If you have specific areas you would like me to go over to a greater degree, please don't hesitate to make comments. I read them, and I would be happy to add more videos for you as a student if you'd like to kind of build out certain areas specifically. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you later.